Hey guys, Dislitter Magic here with apparently the most popular series on my channel. Well, okay, it's probably about tied, if not exceeded, by MTG Mistakes. That series is insane. You should definitely watch it. If you watch every single episode, you will be such a good Magic player, it'll be ridiculous. But no, this is the much more helpful to the community as a whole series. I can't imagine what other reason there would be that people like this. I mean, Wedge has the worst cards ever printed or whatever, the weirdest cards, or I don't even remember what it is. He hates making it, allegedly. That's kind of the meme, at least. I think we all know he secretly loves it. But everybody keeps asking for it, and it probably has the most views on his channel. Well, back over on the Dislitter Magic channel, it's my LGS from hell. If you're not familiar, it's the one I used to go to for, I don't know, probably 2.5, 3 years, something like that. And I've been going to the new one for at least a year now, probably longer. So it was a while ago, but holy crap, it was pretty much the only place to play, at least FNM. Not really play Magic in general, not at all, but FNM. That it was, you either go there or you didn't go to FNM, or you traveled way too far. So that's why I kept going there, but at a certain point I said screw it and just stopped showing up. And then a new store opened. So I was really bored today and stuck at a thing I didn't want to be at, so I pulled out my phone and typed out a bunch of notes. So here's a slightly more organized version of my LGS from hell. Wonderful stories from it. Now, pardon me if some of these are repeats. I thought this was like a 6-part series. It turns out, well, I made a playlist, by the way. It's like a 14-part series or something like that. It's a lot more than I thought. So apologies if some of these have been included in other videos. I'm not 100% sure. I feel like they weren't, but they might have been. All the crap I had to put up with in the time that I played there, it all kind of runs together anyway. So, Dracon went there a long time ago, apparently back when he had money, and him and his friends wanted to, like, either draft or like open a box. For some reason they wanted to open an older box, okay? And it was, you know, it was old. I don't remember what it was, you know, especially even adjusted for time because it was probably like 8 to 10 years ago. But it was something that wasn't cheap, you know. It was not like $3.99 a pack. So this store, I mean, pretty much like a bunch I've seen before, almost everyone I've been to actually, they have like, you know, sets going way back on the wall, and you can buy individual boosters from them. And some of them are like, you know, like $15.99 a booster because, like, yeah, these boxes are like, what would that even be? Like a lot of money, like close to $1,000. But yeah, him and his friends wanted it, and they're like, yeah, I mean that's steep, but I bet they'd give us a deal if we bought the whole box because that's how it is. I mean, that's how they do things. I mean, you either pay $3.99 a pack for like Amon Cat, or you pay like a little over $100 for it for the whole box. I mean, that's a little bit of a difference. I mean, all things considered, that's like 25% off. I mean, yeah. So, you know, they weren't like rich or anything between, you know, him and his friends. They said they'd split it. And they're like, okay, how much are the packs of that? You know, okay, they're you know, $9.99 a pack or whatever. And, so he says, okay, so how much for the whole box? And they're like, $9.99 X 36. Oh, that'll be $359.64 for 36 of them. And then Dracon was like, that sounds suspiciously like $9.99 times 36. And they're like, yeah, isn't that what you just asked me to do? Because you said you wanted to buy 36 of them. And he's like, not just 36 of them, 36 of them together in a booster box, in case that didn't click with you. Now keep in mind, not only are their staff members incredibly rude and terrible with people, they're not that bright either. So then they said, wouldn't it be discounted when you buy a whole box? You know, like it always has been always at your shop forever? And of course, the person goes, no. And so, you know, to summarize what Dracon said, it was basically like, well, yes, because that is what you do. And so then the staff member person was like, oh, I don't know. I mean, we never sell those, and they're like old. I don't know if we discount them if you buy in bulk. And they were adamant about, you know, getting a discount because I think they've even done it before. They bought really older sets, and gotten a discount. And that's when like the actual owner of the store was around, which he very rarely is. So then they were like, yeah, you'll have to run it by the owner. Oh, when's he going to be here next? I don't know. Nobody knows. I don't know. You could try tomorrow. Try calling. So they said, screw it. They went to a different local gaming store that didn't even have those in stock and had them buy one online and ship it there, and just, they paid like, what, 10% over? And I think it was still cheaper. That's what he told me. It was still cheaper. I mean, what the hell? Somebody comes in to like your local gaming store and says, hey, I'll give you $1,000 for that, for an entire box of like Cold Snap or something. Guess what you say? You don't say, oh no, it's actually $1,100, sir. You say, okay, cash or credit. I mean, who the hell walks in asking for Cold Snap? When was the last time you even saw that? Any kind of older set, if somebody says they want 36 of them, whether you normally give them a discount or not, you give them a damn discount. I mean, that is a lot of old product to recover some money for. That is cashing in on an investment at peak dollar. I mean, well, not really. It'll probably continue to go up, but you get what I mean. They're not buying it in a dip in price, you know what I mean? Now, here's what's even funnier, okay? $3.99 MSRP for packs. No surprise, that's what it is pretty much everywhere, except apparently I think Walmart changed it now, which is odd. Because the one store that I really like, they aren't a WPN location, they do not hold F&M, they're very small. They actually primarily do other stuff like comics and stuff, but they started doing 3 for $10 on the packs, which is obviously $3.33 a piece. Solely because they did that, and people who didn't have box money, they would purposely not buy any packs at my old LGS from hell. They would buy them at the, you know, the other place because it's cheaper. I mean, $3.99 times 3, like it's quite a bit difference. I mean, that's $1.97 over. That's a lot. I mean, percentage wise, that's 20% more. Who pays 20% more needlessly for anything? Oh, plus the staff was more polite and people actually had more respect for the other store. I mean, I got mad respect for the store. This is where I sold half of my Modern Masters 3 shipment to because Southern Hobby shorted him on his order. Oh no, what legal disclaimers are going to put on here? You guys try and prove that that didn't happen if you want to sue me for defamation, because guess what? It did. Screw you. Southern Hobby is the most just unreliable, crooked pile of crap in the entire MTG industry. Do not buy from them ever. If you ever thought about opening a store or getting a distributorship, buy from everybody but them. No joke, last I heard, Alpha Investments buys from 4 out of the 6 distributors. One of the ones he doesn't is Southern Hobby. Ask him why sometime. So anyway, because he started doing 3 for $10, they started doing 3 for $10. Which, you're probably seeing where I'm going with this. If you buy 3 packs, it should probably be discounted. So let's say somebody comes in, they want some, boosters that are $14.99 a pack or $9.99 a pack or whatever, but they want 3 of them. You should probably knock 20% off of it then. I mean, maybe you could charge a premium because it's like that old. I mean, some of the stuff on the wall is like 10, 15 years old. I get it, but come on. I mean, you're not going to make money selling it 1 pack at a time. You're never going to get rid of it. And this store probably had like 12 more sealed boxes in cases in the back. I mean, if you don't give somebody a motivation to buy more than 1 of something that already costs too much, and then you actively act like a complete dick when they want to buy, 36 of them at a time, guess what? You're never moving that inventory, ever. That's just simple math. That's simple business. That's not some kind of advanced business degree level crap. In fact, they fail at every level of basic business operations, like the golden rule of business, which is if one of your staff members is 24/7 a raging bitch, get rid of her, fire her, replace her with somebody else. They have failed to do that for a couple years now, and it's affecting their business. 4 people now at my new LGS have come in and said, oh, I'm kind of new to Magic, and my friends told me go anywhere other than that place by name. Here's a description. Here's what it looks like. Here's what cross streets it's on. That one, don't go there. That's like your introduction to Magic training guide. It's here's how you tap creatures. Here's how you do this and follow the phases. Also, don't go there. It's terrible. That store right there, don't go there. In fact, hell, I lead with that. I'm not like, here's a creature, here's what its power and toughness mean, and here's how you read it. I'm like, first of frickin' all, do not go to this store. So apparently that's not just me. It's not just me with like a vendetta against them. Everybody hates this store. We're talking hundreds of people. I heard from people at my very first local gaming store that they drove further to go to that one before it shut down because they hated the other one so much. It's had a bad reputation for, I mean, as long as I've ever heard of. I mean, according to Dracon, 15 plus years. So other random stories I gotta throw in here. One time they decided to hold F&M despite, inclement weather, let's call it. Now this is Wisconsin. We don't give a crap. I mean, if there's 8 inches of snow, we're getting in the car and going to Dairy Queen. And by the way, our Dairy Queens are open in the winter. That is not the case in some southern states. And by southern, I mean like Iowa. Okay, when people say they're from like down south and they live in Wisconsin, they mean like Milwaukee. If they're from the deep south, they're from Chicago. Oh, usually they don't even have to tell us because they just can't drive and it's really obvious. So no biggie, but it was like a really bad thunderstorm. For some reason, we don't give a crap about snow. We will drive right through a foot of freshly fallen snow. One time I was just like driving home from my friend's house because it was like, let's hang out. And then I think he even mentioned, oh, it's going to snow out tonight. I'm like, how much? He's like, a foot. I'm like, it's not that bad. Call me when it's 2 feet because that'll actually get in my radiator. So driving home, 2 different sets of lights were knocked out. Traffic lights. We're talking one was hit by a car and the other one, I think like some tree fell on it or something to do with snow and weight and ice and I don't know. The best thing it was on the same road, and also I think I saw 2 cars in the ditch, which actually the most I've ever seen was one of the earlier storms about 3 years ago. I counted just on a short trip, I don't know, about a 15-mile trip, about 1 per mile. I think I remember the ratio being 1 per mile. So it must have been about 15 cars that went, I guess you could say in the ditch, but I mean on the highway, it's not really a ditch. It's kind of like a 25-foot ramp of grass. Also, they have these wonderful things called no-tow orders where all tow trucks are banned from operating for like 12 hours during the storm because it's considered too dangerous. So if you are an idiot and think that 4-wheel drive makes you magically be able to go 75 on the highway in a snowstorm, when in actuality it's stopping that's the problem, and then you go flying off the highway in the middle of a curve, your car ain't getting pulled out till tomorrow. The hell is this video even about at this point? Oh, and almost everybody who drives off the highway and gets their car stuck in a ditch or something is not from this state. They have out-of-state plates. Oh, or they're like a teenage driver or someone who doesn't know better. But the hell is this video even about? Oh, yeah, we don't give a crap about blizzards. We don't. If there's a blizzard, we're going to go buy a blizzard at Dairy Queen, okay? But everybody freaks out about thunderstorms. Okay, one time in my parents' neighborhood, when I was still living with them, this is quite a while ago, obviously, there was like really bad thunderstorms, like crap that shows up like freaking purple on the radars, like some color you've never seen. You're like, whoa, what is going on? That is some stuff right there. It was like this whole line, and it was, it was like 90 degrees and humid, and then like this cold front's moving in that's like 60, and it's like tornado warnings and watches all over. Just down my street, we could see at the same time, because the wind was going and the sky was changing, but it wasn't raining yet. 12 neighbors were outside looking up at the sky. 12 people. I'm surprised 12 people were home. I mean, looking down the road, I could probably only see about 40 houses. That's 1 in 4. Okay, 25% of my neighbors were outside looking at the sky because a thunderstorm's coming. And, if we get 6 inches of snow, it's like, oh, hey, honey, I'm leaving to go to the grocery store because screw it. So, I don't know what it is about thunderstorms, probably because tornadoes have done some serious damage. Like, if you ask anybody who's like 80 years old, it doesn't matter where in Wisconsin they've lived, they've gotten hit by a tornado. I mean, it's just, that's probability. A tornado did some damage to one of the companies I used to work at, too, and that was fun because we lost power for a couple days. You may recall I primarily worked in IT formerly, so that was fun. I walk in, I'm like, oh, still no power. I work on computers. Who wants to do an arts and crafts project? But, and this is going somewhere, I assure you, there was a massive thunderstorm / tornado warning, or watch, or I don't even care at this point. Nobody takes them all seriously. We just stick our heads out the window or go out on our front porch and then wave at each other. That's our tornado watch. We're like, yeah, that cloud right there, that formation. I'm suddenly a meteorologist because I came outside in my pajama pants. That looks like it might be a tornado. But some crap flashing on the screen while we're trying to watch American Idol? Hell no, that doesn't mean crap. But they decided to hold Friday Night Magic anyway, despite thunderstorms, which is, surprising, I guess. But I've heard it's kind of hard to cancel F&M. Like, Wizards will get on your case about that if you fail to report an F&M, because then they start asking questions about, like, what you did with the promos and how you gave them away and stuff. Like, you could probably have half your shop get hit by a meteorite, and God knows I want that to happen to my old LGS. I think I may have mentioned that a couple times. And they still be like, well, is it in the seeding half? Because if not, start seeding for F&M. Oh, the meteorite was radioactive as well? What's the rad reading? Is it considered safe for humans? Because if so, get some humans in there and hold some damn F&M. But anyway, clearly this was a mistake, because not only did a tornado pass fairly close to the store. I mean, I'm not talking about a mile away. It was like, 20 miles away. But yeah, there was like legit actual tornadoes in multiple locations. But power got knocked out in the middle of it. Now, I think this is in like pretty late fall, so sundown was like, in the middle of F&M. So when we lost power, it was pitch black in there, because we're in like, a part of the store that doesn't have any windows. I'm not even sure the store had windows, come to think of it. I don't know, it's been a while. I think they just had windows on one of the 4 walls or something. I don't know. And so everybody's like, oh my God. And I'm just like, whip out my phone, turn on the screen and keep playing. Like, how many times have power gone out? I mean, come on. And people were kind of making jokes about it, like pretending to freak out, because that's funny to us. But yeah, we had to play in the dark for a while, and like the staff didn't even say anything. They didn't even come over like, okay, everybody stay calm. We're not canceling. We are going to like, well, I guess they're going to stop the timer, because the timer runs on a computer, and the computer just turned off. Like, they didn't come over and like explain the situation. Like, hey, we don't have a backup generator, so everybody just get out some flashlights or whatever. You can pause the game, get up, whatever you want to do. We'll just knock the time limit and handle it based on clocks or whatever. No, they did not say a damn thing. Just sat behind the counter, and I think they were like reading a book. I'm like, come on, people. Like, there's like kids' hair and stuff. Like, maybe not everybody's as like blah about the power going out. Maybe some people are actually concerned. Maybe come out and give a weather report. Like, oh, it's, okay, it's not a tornado. It's just whatever. But then, yeah, power came back on a couple minutes later, and everybody's like, who cares? No, the funny thing is, like, the vast majority of players just kept playing. They didn't give a crap. They, like, didn't even miss a beat. They're, like, in the middle of tapping something, and, like, the power goes out, and they're just like, yeah, okay, well, I mean, you can't see it now, but I was tapping this and targeting that. Like, they got the board state memorized, man. They know what's up. Okay, so another story, a little bit shorter one. Might have mentioned this before. I think I did. There was this little kid that would always show up. Not sure if he, like, rode his bike. I think sometimes he did, or if his parents dropped him off. I think that was more common. Either way, this dude wasn't very old. I have no idea how old he was, but not very old. And he would never have arranged return transportation. Now, there's some creepy folks at that F&M. I mean, like kidnapper level creepy. So, like, what went through his parents' head? Like, oh, I'm going to drop you off. Have fun finding your own way home. Don't walk home on that street on this side of town. Oh, my God. Don't walk home. Just get a ride with some random stranger. I think he might have exaggerated the number of, quote, friends that he had there, or, like, anybody even his age, technically. He's probably like, oh, yeah, I love going to F&M. I made tons of friends. And, like, yeah, we all talk. We don't care if you're 50 or if you're, like, 12, whatever. Like, everybody gets along. It's cool. We also really didn't care what color you were or what gender you were. I mean, everybody talked to everybody. There was no little clicky things except all the pro wannabe net deckers that wouldn't talk with anybody or ever smile or pretend to have fun. Oh, pardon me, acknowledge that they're having fun. Obviously, they are having fun. It's magic. But, like, I think he's very much overstating the security of his ride home. So every time around, like, round 3, he'd be like, hey, by the way, can I get a ride home? And then he'd, like, ask another person, then another person. Then he'd, like, start asking people he didn't even know. He's like, hey, what direction are you driving when you go home? And unfortunately, I lived in the exact opposite direction. Otherwise, I'd give him a ride home. But I kind of didn't really want to, like, support that level of stupidity and irresponsibility. I believe that's called enabling. Yeah, and I don't enable stupidity, either on the kid's part or the parents, depending upon who knew what and who exaggerated what to who. I just thought that was really funny. And, like, whenever it was nice out or whatever and he rode his bike, he would still ask for a ride. He'd be like, instead of, oh, can I get a ride home? I don't have one. It would be like, can you fit a bike in your car? Now, I knew for a fact, yes, But still, it was in the opposite direction, so I would just say no. And I didn't drive a particularly large car, so it was believable. And I know what you're all thinking. Should have staged a fake kidnapping with, like, you know, a fake gun, because I actually didn't have a gun at the time. And just be like, yeah, I'm going to sell you to the circus or the Chinese and whatever. The Chinese circus. I don't know. And the kid would be like, oh my God, let me out of the car, oh my God. And then he'd like never do it again. See valuable life lessons. Kind of like Scared Straight, where they bring the bad kids to the prison. They're like, this is your future. Oh my God, so scary. Except that's like 9 different types of illegal. Like, I mean, it legitimately would be kidnapping. Like, even if you're like, oh, it's just a prank, bro. No, like, you are kidnapping the person. So no, perhaps that would not be a well-learned life lesson. It would probably just be some kind of trauma that required like psychological help afterwards. Well, I mean, bet he would have arranged a proper ride from then on, though. Anyway, there was this wonderful phenomena that went on there where people would show up and they'd kind of be like interested in Magic, asking cards. Maybe they kind of knew, maybe they used to play, you know, kind of getting that vibe, but, you know, nobody, I guess, cared to ask. But they would never actually participate in F&M. They would just show up. And it's like, okay, that's cool. I mean, maybe they don't have $5. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, why don't you enter? Why don't you enter? If we're suspecting that the reason is because they legitimately don't have $5, because, you know, some people are broke like that. I can certainly understand that. So, you know, I ain't going to rag on somebody for that. But it turns out they're actually Yu-Gi-Oh players. Yu-Gi-Oh night is, I don't know, some other night. But they came on Friday because they have nothing better to do and no school the next day. And they just like hanging out with like geeky people that were kind of like them, except that Yu-Gi-Oh players are not at all like Magic the Gathering players. I don't know if you've met them. They're a little different. Okay, they're a lot different. But, you know, they would slowly kind of learn Magic, but not with the goal of ever playing it. Ever. One time, like, just out of curiosity, because they didn't want to be rude and ask, somebody was like, hey, I got 3 decks. You could play one of them. Just straight up play the deck, and I'll pay for your entry, you know? Still didn't want to play because, you know, they didn't really know the rules. They weren't really trying to learn the game. Probably not enough to operate it. And they've been showing up to F&M, you know, on and off for, like, 2 years. How do you not know Magic after 2 years? I mean, I guess if you're just wasting time and you're hanging because, I don't know, you have nothing better to do at home, I guess, or whatever. I mean, like, I get it. I'm not going to be like, oh, they shouldn't be there. But some of these people were incredibly annoying and incredibly distracting. They would constantly ask about game state and stuff in the game and just slow it down. You had to explain stuff, and they'd ask you, oh, what about this trade? Why are you making that trade? And, you know, just anything you were doing, a game or a trade, they would ask about it. It's not necessarily, like, rude, and I kind of get it, but it was incredibly annoying. And finally, I'm very certain that I already included this in another video, but it's worth another mention because this just outlines it, okay? You guys might be thinking, oh, this is just Desolator. He has something personal against the players there. I'm sure he's exaggerating things, and we're only hearing his side of things, his point of view. Well, I mean, one, the store lost their ability to run DCI sanctioned tournaments twice because I don't know. I had heard a rumor that it was them selling promos instead of giving them out. Knowing them, it was probably just the judges abusing the system and lying to people, because that happened to me personally. And 2 of their judges lost judgeship just while I went there. Not because it lapsed in time, because they had so many damn people writing in complaints. But the number one external, you know, logical evidence that these people were miserable, awful people to play against. I'm, of course, referring specifically to the net decker crowd there, not like the other half of people. A whole group of them, pretty much the net deckers, got kicked out and banned from the store right next door. Like, it was just like some store that sold random stuff, whatever. I don't want to get too specific, or you might be able to locate it. Wouldn't that be a shame? I mean, what if you guys already guessed it in a DM? I've gotten a lot of incorrect guesses that is stores I've never heard of, but one of you actually did guess it. And they were like, I guarantee this store is it. And I'm like, well, I don't want to verify it, but yeah. But yeah, they were so rude and inconsiderate and like just being dicks and screwing around and like, I don't even know what they were all doing, but they've been kicked out of the store next door. They were not allowed to go there. I mean, okay, we've all seen like 14-year-olds get kicked out of Walmart. These people were like 27. How the hell does a 27-year-old and his friends who are like 30 get kicked out of a store for like immature, stupid behavior? That is like strictly a teenager thing. I never got specifics from the store owner about, well, it wasn't the store owner, it was just a clerk, about why they were banned, but they knew that they were banned. So yeah, real quality folks there, them net deckers, and the elitists who always would, be dicks to newer players and all that. You guys knew what they did. I've included in other videos. They were really terrible people. So yeah, that whole store should just get closed down for about 50 different reasons. Wizards, if you're interested, contact me. I would be more than happy to tell you the exact location, longitude, and latitude. Also, if you are a drone pilot for the US military, might give you some longitude and latitude as well. What you choose to do with them and your Predator drones during your day is up to you. So yeah, a couple more fun stories about my LGS from hell, and because my Patreons have on multiple occasions requested more than anything else, more, whatever the name of the series is, whatever, the crap place from hell, whatever, I have thought of a way to generate more stories. Not one, make them up, because obviously 100% of the things I said in this series is 100% legit. I kid you not. It sounds exaggerated. It sounds like a comedy bit. Every single word about my former LGS from hell is 100% true. I assure you. Zero of these stories were made up or embellished or anything. It is that bad. For real. But at this point, I had to have thought of everything that ever went bad and went wrong there. So, I'm going to ask other players that used to play there about their stories and write them down and put them in a video. So this is obviously going to take a couple weeks, but yeah, next time I'm at F&M between the rounds and stuff, I'm going to say, hey, did you used to play at... God, I almost said the damn name of it. I probably said it somewhere in this video. Now I got to watch this whole damn thing back again. Anyway, I'm going to ask them about it and then be like, hey, do you have any lovely stories about the staff or something horrific that happened there? I guarantee you the answer is yes at least 80% of the time. Nobody's like, no, I had a great time. No, sorry, great times are not things that happen there. No. There's actually one story in particular that I am going to go after. It is the story that resulted in one of the judges losing his judgeship. I am pretty familiar with what went down, but like I said, accuracy in this series. So I want to talk to the guy again and see exactly what went down, because you guys are going to get mad. You are going to get punch your monitor mad over this one. I wanted to deck the guy the next time I saw him. So yeah, I think this is all the reminiscing about the wonderful times at my old LGS from hell that I can take for one day. So yeah, you guys have a nice day. Be happy that your LGS is not worse than this, unless it's Groovy Geckos. And then, okay, if you're not familiar, that's the one that MTG Lion used to go to. It sounds worse than mine. It really does, but it's in Texas, so yeah. But otherwise, be happy you didn't go to my LGS from hell, except for that one guy in the DMs, and I'll see you guys next video.